Hi, my name is Sarah Pereira. I'm an occupational therapist and co-owner of Sensational Development Occupational Therapy on Long Island, New York. I wanted to take a few minutes today to discuss something that we address every day in therapy, which is vision. A lot of times parents and teachers will ask us, can my child's vision impact their behavior? And the answer is yes. There are a lot of ways that a child's behavior is communication. Children aren't able to tell us that something's wrong visually if this is the way that they've always seen the world. So we might have to use our detective skills and say, hey, we're noticing that this child's really struggling or having a lot of behaviors around coloring, around doing puzzles if they're early childhood, or a kiddo who is in elementary school and is avoiding close work, is having a lot of inattentive behaviors. They are struggling reader. Their handwriting is poor. We might notice slight things like a child's turning their head. And when they're writing, they might tilt their head and only work out of one eye. There are a lot of other skills other than just seeing clearly. We need our eyes to move together with a slow target, following a slow target. So like this, we might call these tracking. You might hear that word a lot. We can also call it smooth pursuits. You need to also be able to move your eyes from one point to another. And that would be called saccadic eye movements. We might do up and down, and being able to do that without losing focus. Another important skill is convergence. So looking at a near point, not always staring at your finger in front of yourself, but maybe if you're driving a car, you need to check your odometer. If you are a child sitting at your desk, you need to be able to maintain near point, clear vision while you're reading a book and writing, coloring, doing any kind of project close up. Inattention it can look like inattention when you can't do that, when you're seeing double, when it's much easier to see out here than it is to see close up. Another important concept visually is binocularity or eye teaming. We have two eyes, and each eye takes its own image of the world, and then neurologically, we create one 3D image. When that's not happening, we might suppress one eye. We also may see double. You might have a child that actually, as the line of print starts to move for them as their eye fatigues. And this isn't always something, again, that child can articulate because this is just the way they've always seen the world. So they're not necessarily understanding that this is problematic. So in addition to difficulty with attention, reading, writing, something important to consider is some children will be okay learning to read. And then once things become more difficult, as they get further along in their education, right? They've held it together. They've been able to learn to read. They're doing okay. But now they have to read in order to learn. They're reading more text. The text font is smaller. There's a lot more problems for math or words on a page. And now they're done. We're just going to avoid it altogether, which again can come up as behavioral difficulties, opposition, inattention, where it might just be complete overwhelm. We just have seen too much. This is going to be way too hard. Before I have even put pencil to paper or read the first line of text, I just visually see the volume that's there, and it's just too much for me to bear. I might see kiddos that start to get really frustrated at this point and just upset. Homework's taking forever. If you are experiencing any of these things with your children, reach out to an occupational therapist. Here at Sensational Development, we offer consults. Our OTs are happy to get on the phone with parents to determine if intervention and evaluation is the right fit for your child. OTs use play-based intervention to address these areas. So we may make accommodations for a child, such as reducing the amount of text that is available, covering up a page, highlighters. There's a lot of things that we can do and implement for homework and at school that will make these things easier. And then there's also a host of interventions that we may use that typically are play-based and fun for a child that are going to work on addressing these skills through movement and play. We can hopefully strengthen these skills at the same time we're making accommodations for them so that the child is able to keep up, engage, move through their academics, or excel and progress in sports or whatever the activity is that was causing them trouble to begin with. So the goals for intervention might be to strengthen a skill, and the way to get there will look different for each child, depending on where their areas of weakness are. But it's important that as occupational therapists, we advocate for visual assessment for a child to be seen typically entering kindergarten or first grade by a developmental optometrist to help find their baseline visually. Where are they? How are they seeing their world?